Well, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome. It's Thursday, and we have a super important topic. I hope you remember Jennifer. A year and a half ago, we had her on a lot, talking about people with rare diseases in the state of Oregon. And I learned so much because you don't know about them. I mean, I think there's so many people out there that barely know about some cancers, and there's diseases. What number of population do we have that have rare diseases?
So 1 in 10 people have a rare disease, and there are over 7,000 rare diseases, with new ones being found every day, or every year, I should say.
And Jennifer, introduce yourself.
Oh, sorry, Jennifer Knapp. I'm with Adrenal Insufficiency United, and I also used to be the ambassador for the National Organization for Rare Disorders in Oregon.
So her daughter has adrenal insufficiency. And so these are life-threatening diseases that if something's not done just right, they can die. And she's fighting the Oregon legislature right now. She has a bill before them, and it's getting nowhere. It's stuck. So we're trying to unhinge that. Actually, we're trying to push that like that. And we need your help. So you can write your congressional people, your state, your House representatives, or Senate people in the state. This is a state bill.
State of Oregon.
Senate Bill
452.
And what would it do?
So Senate Bill 452 basically would allow emergency medical personnel to administer patient-carried medications in emergency. Many people with rare disease have specialty medications that they need in emergency situations, and because they're rare, these are not carried on the ambulances. Sometimes they're not even at the hospital. So patients carry these medications, and if they experience an accident, a crisis, some other kind of emergency, if they don't get that medication, they could suffer brain damage, they can go into coma, they can die. They need that medication.
And the problem is that EMTs and many doctors and nurses don't know, because they're dealing with all kinds of diseases, but they don't know about these diseases. So that if they don't have that medication on there, your daughter gets in a car accident, her adrenaline shoots up, it doesn't have any way to stop unless she gets that shot, and then she can just...
Yeah, so she doesn't make cortisol. So someone with adrenal insufficiency doesn't make cortisol. So cortisol basically regulates every function of your body. So without that cortisol, her body starts to shut down and she can go into a coma.
And they wouldn't know why.
And they wouldn't know why. And in Lane County, she can get this shot. It took me 4 years to get them to pass it. But in Lane County, they'll give her patient-carried medication. But if she leaves Lane County, she can't get her patient-carried medication because Oregon doesn't have statewide protocols. There's all this inconsistency. So depending where you are when the crisis happens, who the medical director might be, do they know about adrenal insufficiency, do they not know? It's just kind of, are you lucky enough to be where you're going to get your shot, or are you just going to die on the way to the hospital?
So your daughter leaves Eugene and she's safe. She drives
to Salem,
and gets in a car accident, and she could die because they don't have this protocol set up with ambulances statewide to protect your kid.
Correct.
You must feel really safe when she drives anywhere but Lane County.
It's terrifying. It's terrifying enough being a parent and having your kid drive a car, but you add that, what if something happens to her when she's driving that car and I'm not there to help her, or her friend's not there to help her, or she can't inject herself because her arm is broken. And we're getting pushback from this bill because a lot of the EMS medical directors say that in Oregon, all the paramedic has to do is call medical control and get permission. But I've talked with medical directors who have said to me that they would never authorize an EMT or paramedic to give my daughter her medication, that they would just tell them to transport her to the hospital.
And that could be too late.
If she's in the middle of nowhere and it takes over 30 minutes to get to the hospital, she'll be dead, or she'll be brain damaged.
So who's holding back? Who's pushing back on this?
Right now it's EMS medical directors, the Physicians Hospital Association.
And they have powerful lobbyists.
Yeah, so right now we've had a hearing, and so the bill is in the Senate Healthcare Committee. And for those of you who remember, I tried to get a bill passed in 2015 that was just for adrenal insufficiency. And I think there's a lot of confusion. I think they think that we're asking them to have a protocol for every single rare disease. We're not. They think we're asking them to carry the medication for every rare disease on the ambulance. We're not. We're only asking that they create a protocol under what circumstance a paramedic or EMT can give this medication. So Missouri passed this law in 2017. So this is based on that law called Danny's dose. And what that law does is if a patient has a doctor's orders. So who better to know what a patient needs than their doctor, who is familiar with that rare disease? So if there's an order from the doctor saying this person has adrenal insufficiency, they need their Solu-Cortef in an emergency, here are the signs and symptoms, here's the dosage. So that letter would be with my daughter's medication, and if the paramedic or EMT found her, they could then give her the medication. That's all we're asking this bill to do, because medical directors, even if they're the most intelligent, most gifted person alive, is not going to know 7,000 rare diseases.
Right, and so your daughter has this medication on her at all times.
The time.
She has to.
All the time.
So imagine this. So she gets in an accident, or just has, and it doesn't have to be like a life-threatening accident. It's where her adrenaline shoots up.
Well, it's not the adrenaline; it's the cortisol.
The cortisol,
she doesn't make it.
So she can't come back down.
So a normal person, your cortisol will go up. Okay, if you don't make cortisol, obviously it can't go up to account for the stress going in your body. So it's adrenaline is made by the same thing, but it's a different mechanism. So we're talking about the cortisol that she doesn't make. That's what the Solu-Cortef is. It's the cortisol that Rick would have 10% more. If he broke his arm, his body would start making cortisol.
And that what
My
that
daughter
does
can't
is,
make cortisol.
so is it, correct me, so that her adrenaline shoots
The
up.
adrenaline's not really a part of it.
It's not part of it, but the cortisol doesn't let her
doesn't-
come back down.
No, the cortisol doesn't go up. It needs to go up.
It needs to go up.
So she can't make cortisol. It doesn't go up.
So it's a simple, even if it's not a life-threatening accident, it could be life-threatening for her.
Yeah.
And she has the medication right there in
Yeah.
her
So
purse.
when she's sick, she was sick the other day, and we've had people in our group go to bed sick and die during the night because they're not making cortisol to deal with that fever or illness. So my daughter's sick, and I'm stressed out because she doesn't live at home. And so I'm just like, are you okay? Do you want me to bring some food? You know, it just adds this whole other stress. Hi, Sarah. Sarah's in our group.
So what's frustrating about this? Because you're up there trying to save your daughter, and we have some other people here in the room you're going to hear from in a minute too, people's lives, and you've got resistance because of uneducation.
I think that, and then what was really frustrating during the hearing is I've been told over and over again that we cannot have legislation for one rare disease, or one disease, period. Yet there was all this hearing about diabetes and how we need to make sure diabetics can have their emergency, insulin if their vial breaks. And I totally agree with that, 100%. But
what about
it had no
others?
opposition. It passed. It had senators speaking in favor of it. And that's a bill for one disease, and I've told we can't have a bill for one disease. There was a bill for prostate cancer allowing them to have the proton therapy and paying for it. I also agree with that. But again, one disease. But then we come with the rare people, and suddenly we can't have a bill.
So what that says is, if you don't have a disease that has some backing and popularity and money and issues like that behind it, you don't get heard.
That's how it feels.
That's kind of how it sounds.
And then it's also frustrating because I've been trying to do this since like 2011, and I keep getting told that they're working with me and that I just need to work with my local EMS agency. Well, it took 4 years to get that protocol passed in Lane County, but there's not a protocol here for the family that you're going to hear next. And if my daughter leaves Lane County, there's not a protocol for her somewhere else. So it doesn't work to just work with your local people, because people don't stay in one area anymore. We're a country where people travel.
Right.
And I can't go to 40 different EMS agencies and try to get them to make a protocol for my daughter.
So why are you here?
I need people to call the Senate Committee on Health. I need people who carry emergency medications for rare disease, or any disease really, because an EMT and paramedic can't give you any medication you carry unless there's a protocol for it. Anything.
Or
they can't even give you your EpiPen if they don't have a protocol for your EpiPen, okay?
So if you are also just a person and you hear this and you think that is really not right, then this is something we can do stuff about. And,
Yeah.
you obviously, I mean, Jennifer fights, she goes to Salem, she has people, I mean, it's not like it's just her, she has other people with her as well. But they're to a point now, it's a little bit desperate. And we need some push.
Yeah,
we need some push from
Yeah.
people, and that's why we're here. I'm gonna
Yeah.
guilt you. If you want to be involved in something, this is what, and it may not affect you, but this is like a community. So we've got people in our community who are being ignored, and they need our help. And this is where you get in and you get off your duck.
And we'll be posting links for how you can get involved. Either I'll post them later, or some of the ladies in my group that are watching will post those links. So we have an email, we have a form you can fill out that if you're willing to help us. We just need more people speaking out for this.
Also, share this on your page, because you never know when someone you know has a relative who is dealing with this, because it's not something a lot of people probably talk about a lot. So if you know, and they may just pop on your page and social media and all of a sudden see it and go, oh my God, that's me.
Yeah, and I want to say one other thing is that they're saying that we can't set a precedent in Oregon for this, but who says? Somebody has to set a precedent. And in 2015, we set a precedent that allowed children with adrenal insufficiency to get their medications in school, and now 5 or 6 other states have also done the same. So I say, what's wrong with setting a precedent to save a life?
We can't set a precedent. We're like one of the first states to have medical marijuana. We're one of the first states to have the bottle bill. We pride ourselves on this stuff, on setting precedents, but we don't do it when it's a rare disease.
Yeah.
Oh God,
it's totally aggravating.
It's fickle. Okay, do you want to come talk to me?
Sure.
All right, we got some.
I'm gonna let some other folks talk.
But sit
I'll
close so you can
scooch
butt
over.
in if you need to. Okay, so we have a family here, also with us, and I'm gonna have them introduce themselves. You guys, you can come wherever
All
you
right,
want.
I'm gonna
You come
climb over.
Ariella, if you want, you can even poke your head behind your mom.
So, yeah, here you go.
gosh.
All right, so tell people who you are.
My name is Robin De Leon, and I am the founder and executive director of Connecting Families Urea Cycle Disorders Foundation with my husband here, Michael.
So you struggle with what? What's the? I never know how to say this. I don't want to say you. I don't know. I try to be really careful, because it's not like you. I don't want to say you suffer with. You live with.
I live.
And what's it called?
It's a urea cycle disorder, and one of the urea cycle disorders that I have is ornithine transcarbamylase deficiency.
Rick, to answer your question, yes, this is Oregon. This is an Oregon bill, so don't contact your congressional people. Contact local, state, and House representatives. That's who you want to talk with. So you guys have lost 2 children to this.
Yes. Yes.
Tell me about that.
Well, that's really hard to talk about. So I'd had 3 children, and healthy children. And then when I was, after I gave birth to my 4th child, he passed away at 3 days of age. And we didn't know what happened or anything. It was a completely normal pregnancy, healthy pregnancy. And so after autopsies and DNA and things like that, we found out that he had a urea cycle disorder.
Did you know that you had it at that time?
I did not.
Was that the first child you lost?
Yes.
So you started going. Then you went in and got checked.
I got checked, yeah. And so they wanted to do DNA on me, and it took about 6 weeks. We got the report back and found out that I was a carrier. And were asking me things about my diet. Was there anything unusual? And I had shared that eating meat made me sick. So if I ate too much. So anyways, as the years went on, had another child, and found out that he also was affected by the urea cycle disorder through amniocentesis. So we were ready, and it had been like 6 years later, so things were a little different as far as medications and things like that. And so he was on a transplant list right after he was born.
How long did he live?
He lived 4.5 months. He received his liver transplant when he was 7 weeks old. And yeah, it was just one hurdle after another with the transplant.
So either one, how does this bill help you guys?
Well, I think in speaking to some of the similar problems that she's having with, EMS and emergency personnel administering medications right away, we also, our family also takes another medicine similar to her daughter. So there's something that she needs every day that we administer at home, and that basically takes care of one aspect of this. But should there be an emergency, there's another aspect to urea cycle disorders, which are usually the initial treatment for it right away is administering IV dextrose. So it's basically a D10, it's sugar water. which is common. It's
Right.
easy, something easy. It's not a special med. It's not, it's easily obtainable. And that process right there, simply because of the nature of urea cycle disorders, which is basically you're trying to minimize or reduce or eliminate ammonia levels in the body. And what that dextrose does is it either severely reduces the ability to keep producing that ammonia, or it can stop it. I've had one physician say it can actually stop it if you give it in high enough dose.
So how would you use it, like in an emergency situation? How would that work? Just so I understand, because I think this is all new to me.
Right. So we have the similar problems that she does, where you come across emergency medical personnel, and even in the ER, where they say, well, we can't do that because we don't know if basically what they're telling us is, we don't know if what you're telling us is correct.
So you're standing there saying your wife is injured in the emergency room, let's say, and you're saying she needs this dextrose, she needs this shot, and since it's not your home,
It's an IV.
an IV. She needs that, and they can't, if they don't know if they're not familiar with this, they're not going to probably do that.
And that's been the case many times in the ER. We fight every time we go to an ER, or we have to get an ambulance ride. And my unique situation, I guess you could say, is I have two girls, my wife and my daughter right over there. She has the same thing. So God forbid we all get in an accident together and we have to go in separate ambulances.
Who can tell? Yeah,
right. I can only be in one place at one time.
I mean, we carry emergency letters with us at all times,
But
and so
who's
the protocol.
reading when you're in?
You know what I mean? Yeah. Well, and then we have our ID bracelet, which does have. If you flip it over, it has all of our information that they can scan. But what happens is like for my daughter, I've had to call an ambulance many times, and even though I have my emergency letter, we need to start this D10. I mean, most EMTs are trained to do this. It's just simple. So what happens is when we're in the ambulance and nothing's getting done, and I'm explaining the situation, we get to the ER. I mean, her ammonias are rising. It's affecting her brain. I mean, it's irreversible brain damage the higher that these ammonia levels get.
Okay, so if she doesn't get that simple sugar water in time, she could be brain damaged or dead.
Yeah, it affects everybody differently. Some people's ammonia levels rise very, very fast. Some it's a slow rise. So it just depends. I mean, every patient's different.
So with the urea cycle disorder, it's a time. The importance is time, right? Because the medicines that they take right now are basically a maintenance type, or even like a reactionary type, solution, which is their bodies are making this ammonia. We don't know how much. We don't know at what rate. We don't know at what speed, right? But the buildup of ammonia in the body is something that takes a little time for it to happen. It's not like a diabetic where you're just
Right.
your blood sugar drops and you need something
get it.
eaten now.
Right.
It's usually a time incremental type thing. So with a UCD, they're having this issue happen all the time. The meds that they take regularly at maintenance is to keep the ammonia that's in their body, to giving it the ability to get rid of it. It's called an ammonia scavenger. So it basically attaches to the ammonia in there and it just gets rid of it. So the D10 is more what they give in emergency in a high ammonia level crisis. They call it a hyperammonemic crisis. So the D10 is so that you can get ahead of the time. So you can get ahead of the possible buildup of ammonia that's happening while you're having to explain for 2 hours to some ER physician what's going on, why you need this. I'll show you my letter. And to speak more to what you said about them reading it or not reading your material, we've had physicians actually read the material, but they can't do it because they don't have verification of it.
Okay, so let me do something. So I'm watching you talk, and I'm feeling really bad for you because you got two women in your life who are just that you're constantly and how frustrated are you?
Well,
It's really frustrating.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. It's really tough. And it used to be much worse. I mean, before there was actually an FDA-approved medicine, and I feel bad for the people out there that I mean, you can see my frustration, but believe me, there's other people out there with other rare diseases that
they're
are
coming on here
more
like
frustrated,
crazy.
way more frustrated than I am because
Right.
they don't have a medication.
I think bottom line is that these EMTs and just not them, but just all doctors.
The medical industry.
Yeah, they just need to listen. I mean, they really need to listen to us. I mean, I can remember, and I don't know if the outcome would have changed on my son, but after having 3 children, and then when my 4th baby was sick, I can remember saying, something's wrong. You know, when they were bringing him to me to nurse him, and I'm like, something's wrong. I just feel like there's just something's wrong with my baby, and you know, oh no, you're a new mom. You're just, you know, your emotions are all over the place, and things like that. And I'm like, no, no, there's just something's not right there. And I think that if they would have really listened to me, that maybe, I don't know, maybe things would have turned out differently and I wouldn't have lost him. I mean, I don't know.
I feel like...
because by the time they actually found out, I mean, his brain was, I mean, he wasn't there. He wasn't there. And we ended up losing him. So I think that's the bottom line, is they really need to listen to us patients. And
just because you're a rare disease, like Jennifer pointed out, diabetes is getting help. They're getting the help they need. Prostate cancer through getting proton therapy, and just because you don't have the numbers doesn't mean you don't have the love. Mm-hmm. and that these are your people, this is your family. Mm-hmm. And I think if anybody out there, you can put yourself in that place. Every time when you're talking, I'm sitting here going, I can imagine being in the emergency room going, you need to give this. We have protocol. We have that. No, do you understand? I can go give this shot to my kid right now, mm-hmm. and they'll be fine, or my wife, and they'll be fine. But just get out of my. No, you're in the hot. If I could take him in my car and give the damn shot, I can save my kid's life. Oh, I would.
Mm-hmm.
I would totally do that.
Mm-hmm.
But that we live in a state that we're listening to people's fear rather than them being educated and understanding what we're talking about. I mean, that's insane.
I think one of the bigger frustrations too, you mentioned you can sense the frustration. I mean, we've been dealing with this for over 20 years, and she was born with it, but she didn't realize that she had it until later in life, after she lost the first son. And I think the frustration mostly on my part in dealing with this personally for the last 20 years is we're so easily dismissed. You know, mm-hmm. It's like, you don't know what you're talking about. You're not a doctor. You're not the expert. Let us take care of this. But you don't understand. You're working against a clock here.
Right.
And I don't care if you want to get mad at me, you go right ahead. I'm telling you what you need to know. Please listen.
Talk about a mama bear. Then you get a papa bear involved too.
Mm-hmm.
You guys,
oh, yeah.
I bet the two of you are right.
Oh yeah. They I mean, I remember at one hospital we were at with our daughter, and they were like, oh my gosh, here she comes. And so, because it's like, I want it done, and I want it done now. I mean, I am my child's advocate, and
you have to be.
And I mean, it's gonna be bad.
All right. Let's bring the cub in.
Okay.
We got Mama Bear, Papa Bear. I think we should have.
Oh, we gotta call lions.
Lions,
oh,
yeah.
yeah.
You guys, they're all lions. Come on over, sweetie. In fact, yeah, if you guys scoot over, and we'll put her, go right on there, and then we'll put, just cut right in front of me, you're fine.
Just come right here.
Come right here, baby.
It's okay.
And if you go over there, one more.
Okay, one more? Okay,
yeah,
he wants you to sit by.
And I want you to sit right here.
He wants you.
All right. So, tell him who you are.
I don't know his name.
Just
tell me your name.
My name.
Just your name.
I'm Ariella.
Ariella, and how old are you?
16.
You're 16 years old. So you're the survivor in the family.
Yeah.
So what is this like for you?
Normal.
It's
just normal for me.
That's all she knows.
Do you see what they go through fighting for
Sometimes.
you? So when you hear about this kind of stuff, what does that do for you? Do you realize how much danger you're in?
No.
No, because you're 16? And you're a kid?
Yeah. No, I just don't think about it.
You just don't think about it? So does it run your life or anything? Or you...
No.
No?
No.
That's kind of cool.
She's
though.
really good about, trying to just live as normal as possible. I mean, she's really, really good. She doesn't let her illness define who she is or anything like that. So, we're very, very proud of, just the way she handles things. I mean, she does have some limitations and things like that, but But
what
overall,
what can't you do that your friends can do?
I mean, like, you're looking at me, you're scaring me.
No.
Sorry.
Okay.
You are so 16. I love this. This is, you want real? This is real.
Like, you're scaring me.
You're right here.
So what can't you do that your friends can do? Like something really simple that you could tell me.
I mean, I can't really, like, do sports and stuff like that.
You can't do sports?
Mm-mm.
What happens if you do sports?
It's just something I just physically can't do.
Physically can't do it.
See, we lack a lot of muscle tone because
Oh.
we can't have the protein.
Oh, so that's how it affects you.
Yeah.
Now, what about, I'll tell you, does it make you stronger? Do you think you have a different, because I'll tell you what, I mean, she's like, this girl, she would, if I asked the wrong question, you would nail me. You're strong. And I love, that's a compliment. That's a compliment. But you're tough.
She is.
Has this made you tough?
I think so,
Mm-hmm.
in a way.
So where are you guys from, the Portland area?
Washington.
Washington.
Mhm.
They came down from Washington
Yes.
to talk to us.
Yes.
So this law in Oregon wouldn't even, okay, that says a lot.
Yeah, we're here to support.
So
We're
this
here for
law
support.
wouldn't even affect them.
Mm-hmm.
But Washington doesn't have one either, does it?
No.
No.
So if we could get this passed in Oregon, hopefully Washington,
Yes.
because they always copy us,
Yes.
would do something
They
like
drove
that.
hours to be here.
Yes.
So they drove like 8 hours to be here.
A long time.
So is there anything else you can tell me? You drove a long way, and I want to make sure, I know, but you just, what? I want to give you a shot. There's people out here watching, and
What would you tell other kids with rare disease?
No idea.
No idea. My daughter would say the same thing.
Yeah, yeah.
so
On the spot.
you guys, here's the bottom line. Senate Bill 452 would allow emergency personnel to administer patient carrier. I love whoever this is. This is awesome. She's giving me my script. Thank you, Sarah. And right now it's stuck. And the reason it's stuck, in our opinion, is because people don't understand. And so what we're trying to do is build some understanding of rare diseases. So we pay attention to diabetes, which we should. We pay attention to prostate cancer, which we should. We pay attention to breast cancer, which we should. And we fight for these things. But there's a whole bunch of people that you don't even know about, and they have rare diseases. And because there's just a few, they have less of a voice. So that's where they need our voice to help them with their voice. And so that's called being a pain in the butt. And you call your senator of your
Yes.
area, you call your representative of your area. It's really easy. In fact, what I would suggest you do is you write one letter, copy and paste it, and you send it to each person. And you also be kind when you call. You don't call, what the hell are you people doing? You don't do that, because nobody responds well to that. So you be
No.
kind, and you go in and you just say, I really want to tell you how important this is to me. And if it doesn't affect you, that's even better, really.
Yeah.
Because they need people that are on the outside too to be able to do
And
this.
they need healthcare professionals.
And healthcare professionals. In fact,
we need
I'm gonna
you.
I'm gonna have you go there, Jennifer. Let's finish off with you, kind of coming in here. Thank you. She's a beautiful girl. She is.
She's brave. My daughter doesn't like to do this either. So,
That's
So
why God made moms and
Yeah.
dads.
what would really help is we need physicians, pediatricians, anyone in the healthcare community to stand behind us. And I want to say, paramedics and EMTs, you are awesome. You never fight these bills. It's the people that give you the ability to help us that are fighting them.
Right.
Not the paramedics, not the EMTs. Everyone I've met wants to help us.
Right.
It's,
Well, of
it's
course
those
they do,
that
yeah.
it's those that are behind allowing them to do this. So again, we're not asking for you to carry all the medication on the ambulance. We're not asking for a protocol for every rare disease. We're asking you to follow the doctor's orders, who knows the patient the best,
Yes.
and follow what they say to do to save their lives. It's that simple. It's that simple.
Are you kind of, I don't want to say, I don't mean amazed in a good way. I guess a better word would be flabbergasted at how here's this very simple thing that you brought forward to protect people and the resistance you're getting.
I think I've moved past that. I'm just angry.
Wow.
I'm angry that I've been doing this since 2011. I'm angry that an EMS director told me to my face when I told him my daughter would die without her medication. People die every day. That was his response to me. So, and I'm supposed to have faith that he's going to allow someone to have my medication. He's already told me he would never authorize her medication. $10 shot.
So we need a law
And he
that
would
forces
rather her
him
die.
to do that.
I mean, that's what he told me to my face.
Wow.
That was, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. It still makes me tear up. Well, so
Yeah.
But it makes you fight harder.
it makes me
So
really angry.
where's the bill
seen-
right
I've
this
seen
second?
others.
Like, where's the bill right this
So
second?
the bill is in the Senate Committee on Healthcare. There are 5 committee members in that committee, and they've had a lot of pushback from the medical directors, the hospital associations. And so
Who are those members? Could we?
Senator Monis Anderson, Senator Tim Knope, Senator, I think it's Sheila Fagan, I'm sorry if I got your name wrong because you're new, Lithicum, and Senator Byer is my senator, and he's the one who introduced this bill for me. Thanks, Senator Byer.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Byer.
And I think we have a lot of support, from senators, because, back in 2015, we had a lot of support, but it's that pushback. And, they're reluctant to go against the medical community because the medical community always knows best, right? Well, I'm sorry, you don't know best in this situation. Missouri passed this bill and lives have been saved. Minnesota is hearing this bill right now. I think 2 other states are also looking at this bill. So this bill is being passed in other states. In Missouri, the EMS community was totally behind the bill. And here we're just getting pushback. And I do think some of that is a misunderstanding. Some of that is an assumption that I'm asking for what I asked in 2015. And I'm not, because I heard what you said in 2015. So I came back this year to address your issues, and you're still pushing back with me on the same, using the same excuses. It's like we recycled the
So what
testimony.
with people, if people are writing in, what else can they do?
Well, we need more people that carry specialized medications so that we can
'Cause there's
show
all
them
kinds.
just how many. I mean, there's so many different ones. People with bleeding disorders, hemophilia, need clotting factor, and that's actually, our bill is based on Danny's Dose, which is a grandmother in Missouri whose grandson has a bleeding disorder, and so she created this bill, Danny's Dose, and this whole nonprofit for Danny's Dose. So that's what this bill is modeled after. So it started with hemophilia. She found me with adrenal insufficiency. We found the DeLeon family, I want to say it right. And so we're finding each other, and we need to find each other so we can come together with our groups, because if 1 in 10 people have a rare disease, I mean, that's a lot of people. That's
you can
more
add up
than
to it.
that's more than diabetics.
But
I don't
it's-
think 1 in 10 people have diabetes.
But it's a hard force to get because it's all fractured. You got
We're
all
all
these different-
fractured. So
So
we
where do
need-
they go? Where does somebody go if they know
So I
somebody?
have some links that I'll post, or
She'll put 'em in
Sarah,
the
if you're
comment
there,
section.
and if you have them, you can post them. I think I emailed them to you. So you can send that email. The email is Oregon, so ORSB452 at aiunited.org. So ORSB at aiunited.org is the email you can send me. If you have a patient carried med that you have, I just want to know what the name of your disorder is, what the name of the medication is, and what will happen if you don't get it.
Okay.
If you have a physician that'll help support this bill and write a letter, Sarah, who's watching, her son's physician wrote us a letter in support of the bill, but we need more medical people to counter those medical people that are pushing back.
Right.
We need other medical professionals that work with these rare disease patients to come and state why we need this. And I'll say to people in the rural areas of Oregon, this is really even more important for you in a way, because it's going to take you longer to get to the hospital. So if you have a specialty medication and you live in a rural Oregon, or you're driving through rural Oregon and you don't get your medication, it's going to take hours before you get to a hospital. And if you're a hemophilia, if you have hemophilia, the hospital may not even have clotting factor. So they have to give you this medication. And they say, well, we don't have any paramedics in the rural areas. Well, then get some.
Right.
I mean, why not?
So can you guys also post other information on how to get a hold of your group and all that in the comment section?
We will, yeah.
So you guys, they'll be filling the comment section with all kinds of information for you to get a hold of. Can you also put, when you get them, the names of the people they should contact on the committee?
Yes.
Okay, so they'll put those names in there as well, and you can get more information. Gosh, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I love doing these with you because I think it's, my whole thing is to be a voice for the voiceless, and I can't think of anybody more voiceless than people with rare diseases.
And it shouldn't be.
No.
I think there's a statistic saying if we were a country, it'd be the 3rd biggest country in the world.
For people
All
with
the
rare diseases. Wow. Because we just don't know about it. I remember when we first brought adrenal insufficiency out, when we took it out of the closet, people were like, what?
Well,
I
and
was
people
like-
found me through that
Well, then-
post
and
that
you're-
have adrenal insufficiency.
Yeah.
So, and then somebody that just got diagnosed is friends with you on Facebook and saw us posting about this and contacted me that she just got diagnosed with adrenal insufficiency.
That's why you guys should share this on your page, because the power of social media is amazing. And don't feel like you don't have a part in this, because we're doing this, and and full disclosure, her organization is paying for this, so they're for the time.
Actually,
on
I'm
here.
just paying them myself because
it
we're a
matters to
nonprofit.
her.
We're not supposed to lobby, so I'm lobbying.
So she's lobbying and she's paying for it herself. So we're all putting our money where our mouth is, and all we're asking you to do is make an email to somebody and share this on your page. That's not a lot, and you could help a lot of people. And thank you guys for coming down here.
thank
Good
you.
night.
It's a long drive.
Drive 8 hours to come.
Or however many hours.
Yeah, whatever it was to come
Yeah.
from Washington.
We came down here voluntarily, so we're not.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
came down here
They
on their
came
own.
on their
so.
own, paid their own dime for the gas, and got to know what it's like to have their gas
I
pumped
just-
for them in Oregon.
And they had lunch at Cornucopia. So there you
Yeah,
go. They
yeah.
found all the great things in
Yeah.
Eugene. So
Can I just say one thing?
yeah, move over. One more.
I just want to say, my wife and I have been doing this 501c3 for about going on 3 years now. And you have a 501c3, and I think there's a misconception out there about what that means to certain people. I mean, I know what it means to us, and it takes a lot of volunteer effort. You have to give a lot, but I think one of the main reasons why some of us should start working together more is because we've experienced tragedy on a level that we know how bad it hurts, and
Right.
we're trying to prevent that by bringing this kind of stuff forward so that other people are aware of, hey, this is what can happen. These people are actually trying to help you, and so I just wanted to emphasize, put an emphasis on how the power of more foundations coming together to help each other is powerful. We can get a lot done.
And most of the rare disease foundations are like us. They're just run by parents or grandparents
Yeah.
or other family members. We don't make money.
Right.
I don't get a salary.
Right.
I'm sure you guys don't get a big old salary, and you had to drive and pay
Yeah.
your own way and pay the gas, and
You do it because
we don't have that money.
It's your kids.
Yeah. And
Or
what
family
choice do we
members.
have?
Yeah.
Right?
All right, you guys, thank you. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
sharing that. And you guys, please share it on your page. Do your part, do your thing. You know what I love? What I think is the most fun about this is you guys are all like lions, like bears. You know what I mean? Don't mess with my kid. And isn't that how we should all be? It's like when you find out your kid, I love the passion that you have for that. I think that's like, it's intoxicating because it makes you want to fight for people. And there's nothing like a parent's love, even for the ones that aren't here anymore, especially for the ones that aren't here anymore.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for coming down
Yeah.
here. All right, you guys. Okay, we've done our part. Well, they're going to continue to fight. Watch out, Salem. I told my wife when I got the note from Jennifer, I go, man, that woman, I would never go toe-to-toe with her, ever. Former teacher, and now you're still trying to educate.
Yeah.
I grew up with a family of those. All right, you guys, share it on your page. And tomorrow we're going to be with Travel Lane County, introducing you to a new wine establishment here in Eugene. And then next week, on Monday, we're going on the edge, like this. There's a woman in town who I was reading on Facebook one day, and she's like a very prominent person in our community. And she wrote on there, it's been 12 years since I've been a meth addict, and I've been off meth. And my jaw dropped. I was like, you? Seriously? I would have never guessed in a million years. And so we have a sponsor called Buck Sanitary Service, and we have a show called The Buck Stops Here. And I love to put stories like this on it so that you can see that there is hope for people. And this woman's going to come on and talk about how she did that very difficult thing. I've met very few recovered meth addicts, and now she's a prominent member of this community. That's the kind of stuff I like. So you'll see that on Monday. So tune in then, and we'll talk to you then. All right, have a good weekend, and I'll see you tomorrow with some wine. All right, bye guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye guys.
Bye.
Share it on your page, please.